Hey, did somebody leave their phone over here?
Is it an
Anyways,
iPhone? Just throw it away.
yeah.
It's an iPhone.
Garbage.
Keep talking,
Yep.
Rev.
Okay, so yeah, here I'm here to promote my new game called CONTRAception. It is a shooter game. You are a spacecraft similar to like the Incredible Journey. You've been shrunken down and placed into an orifice of sorts, and you have to protect one cell from being invaded by some other particular cells.
Sounds pretty sweet. Is this multi-platform,
Awesome.
as you are so well known for?
Well, yeah, most of you who have heard me ramble about development, I believe that every game going forward, every demo, every program for VR needs to support multi-platform, including mobile. And so while my current demo that is available right now is only on DK2, it is also being developed for mobile. I can tell you that preliminaries on it are very good. Just for some reason the spawning seems to kill the dive SDK, so I'm kind of working on that.
So it's a game that supports polygamy?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
It's a game that supports polygamy?
Well, right,
Multi-platform.
yeah, multi-platform, right. So it's a polygamous game, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we just try not to get the girl pregnant, basically, I guess.
Well, the thing is, you're doing everything in your power to stop it. However, as it currently stands, you can't really do anything to stop it from occurring. It's just a matter of endurance. How long can you go before you get her pregnant?
And then the child support comes.
Pretty much, yeah. Whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, I'm in the ceiling. What the hell?
I blame, frickin' Akuma, no,
I'm back.
none of that, none of that.
I forgot I'm on that avatar, sorry.
That was trippy.
trippy.
It was like I was
Dark
on
has,
acid or something.
Dark has magical powers.
Where did
unfortunately.
Reverend
Anything
go?
on my end either.
I don't know where Rev went. Might have crashed.
Just lost him. Yeah.
So Dark has super user status.
Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just moved my Oculus cable right as that happened. Kind of freaked out for a second.
He's back.
Did you guys keep
Whoa.
stereo view when that happened?
Yeah,
Yeah, all of a sudden I got stereo. It was crazy.
That was Dark being a prankster.
Accidentally.
Cool.
I'll try a different version of this avatar.
So, anywho, let me explain to you how this game actually got started. It was actually quite an accident, really. I was working on a ball and chain mechanic in Unity and accidentally used character joints instead of hinge joints. And I had 3 chain links and the ball at the end, and when I pushed play, something was very, very amiss, and the ball and chain started wiggling around and shooting off into space, and my dirty mind immediately said, hey, looks like a sperm. And so I elongated the head and tweaked it a bit, turned off gravity, gave it a small attacked script, and gave it a objective, a small orb, a sphere, and made about 1,000 of them and stuck them in a box and laughed for quite a long period of time at the mechanic I had accidentally created, and then realized, holy crap, this needs to be a game.
A happy accident.
Absolutely, yes. It was a very good, I guess you could call it a happy ending to one problem, and an exciting new insertion of a game mechanic. It was very cool.
So how far along is this game now, Rev?
At this point, it is playable. I gave you a link to a zip, and everybody can go and play it. The actual game mechanic, there's several fun things about it. Number one, the sperm come in waves. So there's several waves that you know, thrust forward as you play. Yeah, thanks. And you have to shoot them, and realistically, as the waves keep coming, it eventually overloads, and you won't be able to keep up with them. But there's other things that are going to occur. So they go. I'm actually going to add a few elements, such as these, you specifically, and we'll to prevent from obtaining your objective of prevention. CONTRAception. Going to have what I call CNDM missiles. These are missiles that will be take out sperm all at one time. These will be special things that you know, power-ups that you'll be able to gain over the course of time. One of the fun things too about this game is that as you each sperm that you destroy, there's a readout on your screen that says, hey, as a result of you destroying this sperm, this specific person is not going to be able to have a future, and so yeah, and that was actually, is he still here?
I love that part.
Fruit? A piece of fruit. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
From the
So
ceiling.
yeah, so a piece of fruit kind of suggested it in passing, and we were joking about it, and he's actually been kind of the co-creator of this game, so I want to give some credit to him as well. He's been kind of helping me along the way. Well, yeah, the forbidden fruit.
But he's just
I
an
guess,
apple.
yeah.
Way to go, Apple.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, we actually had a Google document people were putting in their suggestions of, so, you know, random name X, never, you know, won a medal at the Olympics, or, you know, never got eaten by a shark, or, and so it randomizes each of the sperm and what they would have been had they conceived a child.
Kind of dark.
Well, not really. I mean, it's like watching that opening sequence to Look Who's Talking.
They're kind of
the
funny.
movie.
Yeah.
Similar. I mean, just you're not shooting them with a laser gun.
If you want dark, you should have seen the ideas that he shot down of mine.
Yeah. Even I have limits.
What did Fruit want?
I don't even know if I should say.
Now you gotta tell us.
I'll let him tell you.
Well, he mentioned the CNDM missile, and I said, well, you know, if you're going to have that, you might as well have a Hangar CT rocket as well, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, the coat hanger is not. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe
That'd
we'll
have to
make
be an
that
upgrade.
Easter egg.
You could actually make the egg and the Easter egg an Easter egg.
That would be trippy. Yeah, because how many games actually have real eggs in them?
Yoshi's story.
True. Yeah, the other cool thing about this game is while looking for soundtrack options, it occurred to me that there's quite a number of really good classical songs, classical music. I think the rule is anything prior to 1921 or 24 is public domain, and so the Ride of the Valkyries matched perfectly with the theme of my game, and so that is the explanation for the soundtrack.
Very cool.
Good choice.
So I'm curious. Do you think we offended anybody deeply with this game yet?
I don't find it offensive at all. No, I think it's fun. Like, look who's talking, but also there's like, oh, so-and-so won't actually grow up to be, you know, so-and-so. They're pretty funny, you know. I think that's a great humor aspect. And again, like you said, you're really not going to stop all of the sperm. Somebody's going to get through, so the natural order of things still take place.
Yeah,
Playing it.
I don't know, I think it's just fun.
Well, it's available, so help yourself. It's on the Reddit post for this meetup. So yeah, and if you just want to go and download, it's reverendkyle.com/contraception.zip. So it's out there.
Maybe that should be another add-on, is we put a list of phrases for when someone succeeds, and we find out what the person will become as opposed to what they wouldn't have become.
You know, I thought about that. I actually had some ideas for the next version. Originally, my idea was that you were going to be in the ship, and there was going to be like a backstory type of thing. It's like, okay, so you're being shrunk down to be put in, that this is the future of contraception. So it takes place in like 2069, and that's your job, is to be the contraceptor. You know, you can fly you're a robot, a sperminator, and you're sent on a mission to, so you're basically the pill, but enhanced, and you're injected into a woman's area, and that's your job. So you are the pill in the year 2069.
You got to add the
I
Konami
thought
code,
about that, but
the Contra
would
code.
that give like infinite lives? That might. Well, okay. I'm not sure
No,
how
a
you
coat
would
hanger.
use the code hanger per se. It gives you a 10-second window after conception that you can yank that puppy out of there. That's rough.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you kill so many sperm, I don't know.
Oh, it can be done. That's not a
I have
problem.
faith you
It's
can
just
figure
a
this
matter
out,
of
Rev.
whether I want to go that route or not. See, one of the difficulties though is that you know, if that's this, you know, this robot's job is to kill off all the sperm, why are they constantly coming in waves? What kind of slut is this that I'm constantly working? And so I've established the theory of it's some sort of time vortex where the robot becomes dormant and only becomes active when it's needed. So I don't know. Maybe that works.
My working theory was it's the 60s again. You know, that's what people do.
Yeah, it's just an orgy, you know. Yeah.
Or it's just Paris Hilton.
Well, I would have to model a mouth, and I didn't really want to do that.
But who said it's human?
Well, that's true too. Of course, the little fetus at the end when you actually do achieve conception is, I don't know. I was also thinking about making it two-player, where you actually control one of the sperm. That might be kind of trippy.
Yeah.
You know, ideas for future releases.
Yeah.
I've already got the
I like
STD
that.
working. I just haven't implemented it in the game yet. I'm going to wait until I get a couple other things accomplished and put them all together.
Another thing I would have thought would be cool is to give players a goal of, as opposed to being contraception, it would be you are trying to... They've chosen a genetic template for what child they'd like, so your ship would have a scanner, and you'd actually scan them and make sure the right one makes it to the egg. Because it's not just randomly generating a sentence at the end or when you attack one. They're all given names when they're born, you know, and the messages are populate with that name. So they do all have their own stats for each guy. So we could just have you scan, see the stats, and try to get the guy who closely matches the requirements.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where that seemed a lot more of a complication to the game than just a, you know, shoot the sperm. So, I mean, it's definitely an option, though. I mean, it would be... So, only people named, I don't know, something ridiculous like Jason are allowed to conceive. And then, you know, if you kill Jason on accident, you have to wait for the next Jason to show up. That might be kind of cool.
Well, for some reason, that sounds amazing to me.
So, who here has actually played it? Olivier, I think you played it.
Yes, I did.
So what did you think about the mechanics, the actual movement and everything? Did you get some sickness out of that?
No, no sickness, but I wanted to have the moving forward and backward. I'm using a gamepad, so I would rather have the moving forward and backward on the trigger, something like that. I look for the button at start.
Yeah, that was for some reason the Xbox controller, those triggers, the big ones are actually axis. They're not buttons. I didn't
Yeah.
really realize that, and so they're kind of a pain in the butt to map them to something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like this you can put them as a analog for acceleration and deceleration.
Yeah, like if you want to, you can just say if that axis is greater than 0.95, and then it equates to being a button. Failing that, you can use it as a ramp up, and the amount of axis pressed could be speed, so people can sort of coast in as well.
Well, I gave the demo to a few people to play, and one of the pieces of feedback I had was, number one, I want reverse, and number
Yeah.
two, I want one of the bumper buttons shooting, so that way I can accelerate and shoot at the same time. Uh, those are both really good ideas, came from the same guy, and I implemented both of those. But now it sounds like there's a possibility that there might be some other ideas we can do to implement to make the gameplay a little bit
Strafing would
better.
be nice.
Yeah, we'll have to play around with that.
Yeah.
And for the PC release too, you could always use the open source Xinput API and get yourself some rumble features when you shoot them as well.
Yeah, that's true. A Piece of Fruit is fortunate enough to have the actual PC version, not the Rift version of the game. So he's very privileged to have that.
Yeah, I've deleted all the icons on my desktop. There's now just one for that game.
Yeah. Now, did the actual does the icon have my icon with the little fetus?
It doesn't, but I did find a lovely icon of your head, and I just put that on instead.
Well, that's adequate too. Yeah. Okay.
You put your head in the game?
No, it's just I know Jason has several pictures of me on his desktop, and he just chose one as an icon. That makes sense.
No, yeah. The head can, yeah, double meaning, but... Sorry, that was a bad one. Put your head in the game. Not this
Yeah.
one.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I had to a few things, assets. I had some scans done of myself that I was, but you know how sometimes assets are just so hard to scale them down in Unity, and I had to cut back on a few of those things.
Yeah, and that could be some stretch goals also.
Well, I must say, I must praise Kyle for the whole process, because he's a real method developer. I mean,
Nice.
when he made a game like this, he did an awful lot of testing and, you know, method acting, and he really, like, practiced the experience himself a lot to get the feel he wanted for the game.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean that's I don't want to put a game out that I didn't enjoy, and I want people to have the same joy that I did. And you know, I can only have so many people play it and tell me what they feel about it. But if I'm not having a good time playing it, then how do I expect anybody else to?
Sounds cool.
Yes, it's a quick fun. It's nice.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that it becomes something bigger. I mean, it's you know, somebody asked me with Project Torus, which you know most of you probably know by now, that was my game for Kickstarter, which is you know coming along swimmingly well, and it'll be available end of October as promised on the Kickstarter. I want to you know, people were asking me, it's like, well, do you have like a studio and whatnot? And so I'm now Rev VR Studios, and I'm working on the website now, and so it's a real thing now. I'm a real indie game studio and have titles that we're working on, and I have some other things that I'm going to do after CONTRAception is done. I got a few games that I'm going to be doing And I know Piece of Fruit's going to be working on a few of them with me, and hopefully some other developers jump in and play along as well.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
I have a quick
Well, thank you.
question.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
How many clones of yourself do you have? You seem to be doing an awful lot.
How many clones of myself? Oh, you mean because I just do a lot of stuff? It's all about time management, man. I mean, it's I've got a full-time job. I work 40, 50 hours a week. I have a wife and children. Indie game development, podcast, personal appearances. All in a day's work.
You're very prolific.
I'm sticking with my theory of a clone machine.
Well, yeah. So if you ever hear one of the, I'm in and I'm just like, hi, that's one of the copies of a copy. You're not supposed to do that.
I love that movie.
It was that Multiplicity, I think it was. Yeah. Good
Yep,
movie.
that's it. Michael Keaton.
Yep.
I keep trying to rest my hand on this damn table over here.
I keep trying to prop my feet up on this shelf thing in front of me.
Not yet.
Giggity.
Sort of
Oh,
speaks
hey,
for
I guess I should
Coming
share
soon.
with you as well, those of you who either saw the video or will play the game. There is a voice, a female voice. That is my wife. I had her. I told her. I said, come on in and sit down here in front of my computer. She's like, why? What are we doing? I said, well, here, put this microphone, and I want you to read these lines. And she's like, do I read them sexy? And I'm like, no, I need you to read them really robotically. And even after I recorded it, I'm like, still a little too sexy. So I had to actually change the pitch a bit. Did I say pitch or I meant to say pitch? I had to change the pitch. And so I don't know if any of you have ever played the game Dune. Or Emperor Battle for Dune, as I think the newest one was. There was always a female voice, and it would say, your harvester is under attack, or new wave is approaching. And I always thought it was cool. So when we did the game, the voiceover, I had her say that sort of thing. Except that instead of approaching, a new wave is coming. Seemed more appropriate.
Oh yeah, you have to push the talk so you can hear me laughing. But you got me chuckling.
What's next is getting the website
So what's next,
up.
Trev?
I need to transition over from the very wonderful RevKyle.com, which is looks like a website developed in the early 90s, into something a lot more dynamic. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to play around a bit with some templates and get something nice and smooth and dynamic. But I've got a lot of really good ideas for some games, and now that my Kickstarter was successful and got, getting pro license for Unity is just a substantial jump and puts me in a good position to create some content. So I'm really looking forward to creating more content, and I don't know, a little keep hearing this little voice in the back of my head that keeps telling me, continue to focus on mobile development. Just continue to focus on mobile development, because there's a lot of potential there in the VR world. VR plus mobile. I don't know. I was looking at a small pool of water with some soap suds in it earlier today, and it spelled out mobile VR. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep working on that.
Well, anything that works on
That's
mobile
definitely
on,
a sign.
Crappy computer.
It's like
Well,
seeing
right,
Jesus in
and
toast.
that's always been my theory. It's when I started working on Project Torus, that was a big thing for me. Was first time I ran it on mobile, I went, oh no, this is way overdone. And so I went back and redesigned every single asset from scratch and got it down to like minimal poly count, just right at that level where it still looked okay but didn't overload the system. And then when you run it on a PC, it's like flies. And so with CONTRAception, I've done similar. Somebody on Reddit was criticizing me for all of my texture and art, and I say screw them because I needed it to run on mobile. And so baked lighting and low poly, and that's the way everybody should be working right now. Because the hardest thing in the world is to take something that you've designed for a PC. Am I looking around? Yeah. And try to squeeze it into a mobile. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and the web space that I work in, it's about designing for mobile first and then building up
Yeah,
from
I'm
there.
just
So
gonna,
something similar, I
I've been
think, would make
preaching it
sense
for the
in VR.
longest time, and I'll continue to preach it. Well, pretty soon I won't have to, I don't think. You need to design your VR games and demos to work on mobile, period. And there are a few pieces of that puzzle that are still kind of missing, like a mobile SDK, unless you're using the .SDK, which is what I'm using right now. Those things will come, and they'll come really hard.
Heyo.
Hey.
Isn't that what Carmack's given to Samsung anyway, the mobile SDK?
That's the rumor, isn't it?
We should have some news on that here pretty soon. With all the
That's
leaks and
what
everything,
I'm hearing.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I'm hearing good things.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching Oculus Connect stream.
Wouldn't it be cool if news about it came out prior to Oculus Connect?
Hey, gee, I fixed my judder, if you're interested in knowing how.
Oh, I wouldn't say leaks. Maybe official.
Mm.
Never know.
So quick question. I noticed if I like turn around, I can see the
Stay
back of
tuned.
my avatar. Is that like, does that happen with other people too?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I forced OpenGL and that fixed my judder issues on here.
Interesting. How do you do that?
The VR game manager that Belobo came out with.
In
So
Force
there's
OpenGL?
So yeah, I got Rift as my primary monitor in extended mode, and then Force OpenGL, and that worked on Titans of Space. It worked on this. I better work on Rift now instead. Now it's all working just fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, Belago's tool, that VR launcher, is really good. It allows you to have a bunch of options
So the
just to
thing is,
click on before you
every
launch the
game
game,
has
and
a different setting,
from
so if I
resolution.
change the settings, I don't think about it, and then next time I want to launch it, I don't have to remember that I have to load a certain way. Okay.
So Kyle, how long do you think you're going to work on CONTRAception again?
I figure that I will probably do a few more iterations of it. I've had some good ideas given to me and a few things that I want to implement. Once I get it to the point where everybody seems to be enjoying it and not complaining about it, I will probably move along into something bigger or smaller maybe. But I don't want to. I think it's a huge challenge for a lot of developers is that they spend a lot of time on one project trying to make it perfect, where they could have been very easily working on several other projects and getting them up to playable standards. No game is perfect. I look at games constantly and think, wow, they could have spent more time on this, or wow, they could have spent more time on this. But then I realize I bought it for $60, and so mission accomplished.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Doing many different things. Trying things is good.
How long have you guys been working on the game so far, if you don't mind?
Jason, what has it been, 3 weeks?
I'd say less. I mean, we had it fully functional up in, well, you had it fully functional in about, I'd say, a few days, didn't you? And then we played with a few ideas for about a week after that, and after that it was just sort of tweaking and adding things to it. It was essentially done after just a couple of weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean the original mechanic of it. I showed you the original mechanic. We had a good chuckle, and then like a day or two later, I showed you what I had built in Blender in terms of models and whatnot. And because that sperm is 100% built in Blender from scratch, and we did some rotation scripts and things, and I had one written, but Fruit here did a much better one than I did. But yeah, I mean the main game mechanic itself was really quickly produced. Implementing the naming system and the messaging system, the ship. Um, yeah, I mean we spent probably a full week just tweaking it, putting new shaders on, working with baked lighting. This was my first attempt at baking lighting, so that was kind of a challenge. Um, Actually, just like a day ago, I went in and added the reverse and the firing mechanism button manipulation, a few little tweaks here and there. So, I mean, the fact that I released it today was just on a whim. I was going to wait until Friday, and I thought, they're going to do a dev chat. I'll give them something to chew on.
Awesome. Very cool.
Talking about lightning, it could be nice to have a level in the dark, which should be the normal status of the thing, so you can have some beam on your ship and add that difficulty to the gameplay.
Yeah, the idea of having different levels was something that crossed my mind. The idea of, and actually, geez, I don't know how many different ways we changed the lighting and the color scheme and everything to try to get a really cool
Yeah.
effect. And what we settled on was literally settling, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we even went for transparent tubes and was going to have a lot more going on outside of it to make you feel like you're actually inside as opposed to, it being completely opaque. But a lot of those things just didn't work as well. They became too noisy and it was hard to actually see what you're aiming at, and even some of the shader options were too light or too hard to see. So it was kind of best of both worlds that we kind of stuck with the way it is.
Well, and those of you who have worked with mobile know that a lot of the shaders and things, you do them on the PC, then when you try to compile for mobile, it shits the bed. So what do you guys think about the idea of taking this mechanic and moving it a step further? Maybe having the ship fight off, I don't know, cancer cells inside of a spleen or something like that, and continue on with this whole idea of an incredible journey.
Sure. If you want complicated thing, I would love to have a usage for the head
Yeah, I like
as
it.
a targeting system, multi-targeting and that kind of things, which is more advanced control.
Yeah, as it stands right now, the ship just fired out of the front of it. I considered the possibility of attaching the gun to the head, but I'd already done a game like that since Project Torus is literally a gun on your head. I didn't want to use that same mechanic again. I really wanted it to be a ship. And what's funny too is that I had considered the possibility of having like HOTAS control in this sort of game. So like an inner space type of, because everybody who's got a HOTAS right now, it's like, what can you play? Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous. That's, I mean, what else is there? So if I give you a uterus to swim around in, that might work.
Indeed. No, I meant having a reticle just on the head, a
I think
targeting
though,
system on the head, so it will still fire from the ship, just to lock the target.
That's an interesting thought. I have a feeling that there might be something like that we can implement.
Yeah, the usual.
I think of Vanguard
Yeah,
V,
the usual
and so you're
multi-targeting
kind of that
system
computer
that
following.
you have
Yeah, I
even in Res, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that script mostly.
Yeah, and then that
written and done.
multi-targeting is fun.
Just a case
Yeah.
of dropping it in. I have it for a separate project, but we can totally reuse it.
Yeah, this is cool. So you can add more wave or more complicated things. Nice.
Yeah, but there will be additional weapon upgrades that are going to be available. I might actually consider making the level longer. I've been waiting to hear some feedback from people who have it, and I'm not sure if a longer level would make more sense. So if any of you play it and you think that, you know, give me feedback. You think a longer level would be ridiculous, or is it just long enough? Let me know.
Longer in time or in space?
Physically, in space, yes. So the distance between the spawn point and the egg, I had considered maybe making that longer.
Sure, why not?
I mean, I'm not going for any level of anatomical accuracy here. If that was the case, the spawn point would look much different.
That's for sure.
You gotta put some sharks and some teddy bears in there. At least.
Well, yeah, it's funny that you say that. Teddy Bears versus Land Sharks 2, The Sharkening, is a real project and will be coming out of RevVR Studios. That's going to be worked on here. Actually, some work has already been done on it, some preliminary work, some SketchUps and storylines and whatnot. But that's going to be actively worked on here very soon.
I still want to try your, what is it, Bowler Bill game? Just to see how bad
Bowler
it is.
Bill, no, sorry. Bowler Bill will never see the light of day.
Darn. Because I really
Sorry.
like cyberspace, and I figured yours would be a thrill.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't put it out there. I mean, it's so, like, you want to know what it feels like? Go jump off a building onto something where you won't die. I couldn't do that.
Well, that's kind of the point of VR, to try that sort of thing without actually dying.
I'll tell you what. After I make it as an indie developer and I get funding and Teddy Bears versus Land Sharks 2 is, you know, #1 on, you know, games list and goes gold and all that stuff, I promise you I'll go back, revisit Bowler Bill, and package it and send it just to you.
Just put it in as an Easter egg in one of your games.
There you go. That's a good idea. Maybe Bowler Bill can become Bowler Teddy Bear. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
What are you up to? Number 76 on the podcast?
I believe I just recorded one this afternoon with Justin Moravets, the Proton Pulse / Vanguard V guy. The title of it is Adventures in Kickstarting, and so that should probably be released tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I've been totally slacking. It's just I've been so busy. I haven't done one in over a week. Sorry to my fans.
I was listening to the one where they're talking about the importance of soundtracks in games, and I was realizing that's what some of these environments in Second Life really lack, even the really good ones.
Yeah, I had Aaron Lemke, Unella Design, who does Eden River HD. Fantastic conversation. He and I really saw eye to eye in the importance of audio in the game, and not just audio, but soundtracks, and creating that level of feeling and emotion that comes from the music. You don't realize that you need that, and so it's one of the reasons why I chose the song that I did, "The Ride of the Valkyries." It's just such a classical song, and it really got you in the mood to go shoot some sperm. So there is definitely some value to that. Yeah, pun intended, right?
Yes, of course. Everything is double meaning today.
But yeah, I totally have been slacking lately on my podcast. I suck. Did everybody drop, or did they crash, or what happened here?
Some people did.
The problem is all those 3-4 hours.
Check into Skype here.
That's taking up all your time.
I know. I will probably go to bed. Let's see. I get probably 5 hours of sleep every night. Yeah, that's about right. If I could record a podcast while I'm sleeping. There we go. Dreamcast. No, because then it'll fail.
Dreamcast.
I was a kid in the late 90s when they were talking about, oh, Sega's going to have a VR headset, and Nintendo's bringing out VR, and everybody's going to do it. And it all just failed horribly. And now I've got it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Too bad.
And it works.
Young. Yeah, that's right. Well, our young versions would be so jealous of our current versions right now. It's great. Well, and think about it too. I'm jealous of, you know, 50-year-old Reverend Kyle because of all the cool stuff he'll have by then.
You'll be able to prevent contraception
Wouldn't that be
with
cool? Wouldn't
your
that be
game.
wild if it became like a,
For real.
like not just a simulator, but like a real thing?
Like a drone, a mini nano drone. You just take in there.
Fucked up.
I got this, baby. Don't worry.
Aren't there some people already flying drone cameras with the Rift?
Yeah. I don't know how successful it is. I mean, the whole idea of the stereo 3D, you know, some people have some ideas on how to do that, but it's definitely not 3D. It's just a stereo image. I don't know. There needs to be some more work on that because you'd have to have either a camera move a motor move the cameras around in relation to, so there'd be latency. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're quite there yet, but soon.
Yeah, there's some people doing it. I think for latency, there's a bigger image there, so when they're turning, they're actually just seeing the image that was there, but then the next, section's being loaded and whatnot. So I'm not too sure about it, but it's definitely an exciting area and looking forward to.
I just wish more of the games I like were...
Certainly people are doing it and capturing some really great video.
More of the IP properties that I really like were into VR.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. Who, for example?
DC Universe, Marvel, Star Wars. That's all Disney now, pretty much. But there's a bunch of animes that would make really cool games.
Yeah, I think that they'll all follow suit. I think it just might take another year or two.
At least there's plenty to keep busy. There's a new demo every day.
Yeah, I was just talking to Justin about it. It's like I try to leave myself some time in my day to try any demo that people have sent me, because that's one of the fun things about what I do is people will throw demos at me that are either betas or haven't been released publicly yet or whatever, and I'll get a chance to play them. But if I don't play them, then what a waste of of an email, and then they end up releasing it to everyone else, and I didn't get that exclusivity. But I try to leave myself some time to play those things, and it's hard to keep up on it sometimes.
That's why I just pop in on Bruce's broadcasts on Sunday and see what he's got.
Well, hopefully he'll be playing CONTRAception this week, since it's out and available, and I'm really curious to watch him and see the reactions. I think it would be fun to see Markiplier or PewDiePie or somebody play it. Seems to be right up their alley.
I'm getting the vision of kind of an asteroid-like clone.
Send it to him.
The egg.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain. I mean, just I'm sure you've seen
Missile
the movie
command.
Look Who's that opening scene. Just imagine you're a spaceship flying around inside that opening scene, and you can shoot the sperm. I mean, that's the easiest
Oh,
way to
when I
explain
leave
it.
here, I'm going to go download it. I don't have to imagine.
Oh,
it, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Now, you have a DK2, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, let me know how it works for you. When you download it, there's a runme.bat file. That is what I use to run it and get the correct everything. If the direct to riff doesn't work for you, I did implement the spacebar shows your frame rate, which is something I think everybody should be doing right now with the DK2 demos. So I'd be curious to hear what your performance is.
Let's see, I'm on a 560 Ti, but you know, it's middle of the line pretty much. So
It should work fine. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I ran it on a i5 laptop with an Intel 4000 HD integrated video, piece of garbage video card, and was getting 40 frames per second. So I would hope your 560 Ti should get the 75. At least 65. I'll put it there.
I'm sure good. The little fiddling.
Well, it is compiled in DX9. I find that it's easier to get faster frame rate with the DX9 than it is DX11. So hopefully that works for you.
Cool. Yeah, I thought I had a scratch on my lens, but apparently it only shows up in RiffMax for some reason.
That's interesting.
It might be the lighting in the game or something. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not seeing it at all here.
Might be related to darker rooms. I know
I
Bob's having
just
some issue too.
recently noticed I've
Cause and
got
effects.
one little scratch on my left lens. But I wear my glasses with my DK2, and I use the B lenses.
This has given me a whole new appreciation for people who wear glasses and the troubles they have constantly cleaning these lenses. My eyelashes are leaving lines on them, and they're fogging up, and still fun, but it's annoying. But I'm definitely going to look into some lens protectors.
Cool. Yeah, I was seeing some of that in the subreddit. I got myself one of those camera cleaning kits that Everyday recommended, so I'm using that. And
There'll be a real problem with the
hope they don't get
consumer
scratched up.
because a lot of people aren't used to taking care of lenses.
Let me just go ahead and tell you it's not going to be a problem.
True.
Are they going to use sapphire?
Not going to be a problem.
Cool.
Yes. Yes, Hunter.
Diamond.
Adamantium. Yes, they invented
It's that
it just for
Facebook
the
money.
transparent
Like a
adamantium.
I was gonna say adamantium before diamond, but I'm like, no,
Scotty came
adamantium's
back
not gonna
from the
work.
future and invented transparent adamantium, crossing over all sorts of franchises now.
Got it.
No, I just think about the things that would have made these lenses better. Number one, they're not so close to your eyeballs. Number two, you don't have to worry about sweat coming in, fogging them up, that kind of thing. And number three, just the need for them to just be a solid material. Trust me, they're not going to release a CV1 or any other product for that matter without better optics.
They're going to have to do a lot of design. For instance, I have to keep this thing strapped pretty tight, almost uncomfortably so, to keep everything really sharp.
Well, if they do the lenses correctly, you won't have to worry about it not being sharp. There's a lot of really important things that just come from those lenses, and I hope people understand when they do have a problem or a solution for that, how much time and effort they put into making that reasonable.
Well, I'm sure the only reason these lenses have the problems they do is they had to make a compromise between cost and availability.
Yeah, and I'm not really worried about the DK2. You know, I'm more concerned about the software than the hardware. Hardware's fine. It's exactly what I expected. A little disappointed in the DK2's software, the new SDK and the runtime and everything. That is where they need to focus their attention. I don't really want them to be working on anything from the hardware perspective for the DK2. It's done, it's gone, it's on. Work on TV1, getting that to be awesome. If they spend all their time supporting and fixing DK2s, it's just keeping them backwards. We need them to be moving forward.
Yeah, software seems to be the stumbling block right now. What do you think for a release? Christmas season next year?
Ask me that after Connect.
I'm not really worried about my investment in the DK2. I've already gotten my money's worth out of it.
Oh, just from a collector's perspective, I mean, DK1, DK2, 10 years from now, those things are going to be worth their weight. Well, maybe not their weight, but they'll be worth a lot.
At least working ones will be hard to find from what I've seen.
You got that right.
Hey guys.
Hello, yes.
Yo.
Guest 9340.
If you're a regular, you need to go back out and change your name, dude.
Hey there.
You don't need to go back out, you can do it here.
Oh, yeah, just change your name.
You can bring the console.
We can walk you through that. Have you been here before, guest? Yeah, that V key. Press that to talk, which you
Turn down
did
for
okay
what?
there. But what happened? Hmm? So cool. CONTRAception, Oculus Connect.
Yep, pretty much.
More podcasts.
Trying my damnedest.
Seems like you're doing it right. Yeah, 5 hours sleep. That's the way to do it when you gotta
Yeah,
know,
that's
do the things you
goal,
love,
you know.
and you want to make those your job.
So is the Ubercast coming together for Connect?
Good question. How do I put this? There has been some
Hey, Kevin.
restrictions put in terms of what is allowed to be discussed from a news perspective at Oculus Connect. So at the very least, Brian and Matt from PodVR are going to be staying at the same place as I am. Chris Miranda, I don't know if I've heard if he's going to be there or not. There's a couple other people. Kent Bai is going to be there. So we will do something. Will we have Palmer? Will we have John Carmack? Will we have, Moses? I have no idea, but we're definitely going to try to do something.
And it's like Oculus is turning into a real company, not just some guys in their garage.
Yeah, they've changed a few things, tightened up a few policies. They've become legit. It's pretty cool. for reals, dog.
Too legit to not quit.
Hey, Kevin's here.
Hello.
Kevin's here.
Now we gotta start all over because Kevin just got here.
Yeah.
All
How long
right.
have you guys been going?
An hour, maybe?
Yeah, an hour, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a bummer. I always have to miss these just 'cause it's way my schedule.
So, Gunter, you're recording, I guess? Groovy.
Yep. So I think we're pretty much done with the actual chat here. Does anybody else have any questions for Rev before we wrap it up?
CONTRAception will stay free, or do you intend to sell it at some point?
You can ask him
Nope,
anything.
100% free, forever and ever. Amen. There's there's something to be said for the publicity and the just getting your name out there, showing that you are legitimate. So CONTRAception is meant to be free, and so whether it's being paid for by the government or it's being given out from some sort of welfare system, CONTRAception is available for everyone who wants it.
Good.
So I've heard that
Oh, you could do a
Abstinence
sequel
is just a
that's
blank
called
box with
Abstinence, and
nothing
you
in
could
it. You just
do a whole
stand there and look
thing
around.
where a girl's
Yeah.
gotta
Just
be
a
like,
menu.
no,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
should produce that. That'd be funny.
don't do anything.
it would be like war games.
You get
The only
shamed.
way to win is not to play.
Exactly. That should be the tagline.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome.
Well, groovy. Thanks for having me on, guys. A lot of fun. Go play
Cool.
CONTRAception.
Thanks,
I have
Rev.
to take a short break. My wrist got
Okay,
the,
I'm gonna do it now. I haven't played it yet. I just seen video.
Which is good,
Yeah.
because if it's warm, then it doesn't get foggy.
This is true. There is some validity to that.
Later, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.